Rain poured without mercy that evening. Waves crashed against the shore as if the sea itself was angry. A woman stumbled through the wet sand, clutching her shawl against the cold wind. Her name was Elena, and her eyes were swollen from hours of crying. She had just left the hospital again with the same answer. "I'm sorry, ma'am. It's not possible." Elena had spent 8 years trying for a child. 8 years of hope, disappointment, prayers, and promises. And now, as the storm raged, she felt something inside her break for good. She didn't care about the rain soaking through her dress or the thunder that rolled like distant drums. She just wanted to scream. She raised her voice against the wind. "Why me? What did I ever do wrong?" Her words disappeared into the storm. She dropped to her knees, sobbing. And then, through the roar of waves, came a faint cry. At first, she thought it was the wind playing tricks. But then she heard it again, a baby's cry. Weak, but real. Her heart jumped. She turned toward the sound, stumbling forward through the wet sand until her foot hit something soft. She knelt, brushed away seaweed, and froze. It was a baby, wrapped in what looked like torn fabric and seashells. Lying just at the edge of the tide, Elena gasped, her hands shaking as she scooped the child into her arms. The baby's skin was cold, pale blue, and slick with salt water. But it was alive, crying softly, lips trembling. "Oh my God. Oh my God. Who left you here?" she whispered. She pulled the child close, rubbing it gently to warm it up. The baby's eyes opened large, clear, and strangely shimmering, like the ocean itself. Then she saw it, from the waist down. Instead of tiny legs, the baby had what looked like smooth, silvery skin that ended in a small, fin-like shape. Elena blinked. Her heart stopped. No, that's not possible. She looked around, expecting to see anyone who could explain this. But the beach was empty. Just her, the sea, and the impossible baby in her arms. The waves grew louder, as if demanding something back. Elena hesitated, torn between fear and instinct. Every logical thought told her to run to the authorities, to call someone. But her heart said something else. "Shh, it's okay, little one," she whispered, pressing the baby close. "You're safe now." And in that moment, the storm began to ease. By the time she reached her small cottage at the edge of town, the rain had softened to a drizzle. She wrapped the baby in warm towels, lit a fire, and held it near the heat. The baby stopped crying and stared at her, those strange ocean eyes studying her face. "Who are you?" Elena murmured. "And how did you end up here?" She decided to name the baby Marina. The next morning, she called the police and told them she had found a baby near the shore. They came, took photos, asked questions, but no one reported a missing child. No ships had wrecked nearby. No families were searching. After 2 weeks, the officers told her something that made her knees weak. "Mrs. Elena, we've done all we can. You can keep the baby temporarily, until social services decides what to do." She nodded, but inside, she already knew. She wasn't letting go. Days turned into weeks. Marina grew stronger. Elena learned her feeding habits, her soft humming noises, and her quiet giggles. She would hum to her at night, singing songs her mother once sang to her. But strange things started happening around the house. Sometimes, when Marina cried, the pipes in the kitchen would burst water without reason. The fish tank would overflow, or the sound of waves would echo even when the sea was far away. Once, Elena woke up to find the living room floor wet, as though someone had brought the ocean inside. She was frightened at first, but when she looked at Marina sleeping peacefully, she felt calm again. "She's not ordinary," she whispered one night, rocking her in her arms. "But maybe she's mine for a reason." Months passed. Elena's neighbors noticed the child's unusual beauty. One even said, "That baby doesn't look like anyone around here." Elena smiled politely, never explaining. Deep down, she worried someone might take Marina away. So she avoided visitors. She spent more time near the sea, walking with the baby, whispering stories to her. One evening, as the sun painted the sky orange, Elena heard a voice behind her. "Beautiful sunset, isn't it?" It was Aaron, a local fisherman, who often saw her walking by the shore. "Yes," she said softly. Aaron smiled. "I see you here a lot. Your baby's adorable." Elena hesitated. "Thank you." "She must love the ocean," Aaron said. "She always stares at the water." Elena looked at Marina's tiny face, eyes glimmering at the waves. "Yeah, she does." Aaron looked thoughtful. "You ever wonder where she came from?" Elena's heart skipped. "All the time." He nodded. The sea gives and takes, they say. You're lucky she washed up to you. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. His words echoed in her head. The sea gives and takes. She woke to the sound of running water again, but this time, it wasn't the pipes. It was coming from Marina's room. When she opened the door, she gasped. The baby was floating a few inches above her crib, surrounded by tiny bubbles of water, glimmering in the moonlight. Marina, she whispered. The bubbles vanished instantly. Marina blinked, then smiled innocently. Elena stood frozen, heart racing. What are you? She whispered, but she couldn't bring herself to be afraid. She just held the child close and cried, I don't care what you are. You're mine now. Elena woke early the next morning, eyes puffy from crying. The memory of what she'd seen Marina floating in midair, surrounded by water, refused to leave her mind. She went into the baby's room. Marina was sleeping peacefully, her tiny fingers curled like seashells. Elena knelt beside the crib. You're not a dream, are you? She whispered. You're real. As she spoke, she noticed the floor was damp again. Small water droplets led from the crib to the window. She touched them. They were cold as the sea. She sighed, half in awe, half in fear. Whatever you are, I'll protect you. No one has to know. For months, she kept Marina hidden from strangers. When social workers visited, she wrapped the baby tightly in blankets, avoiding any glimpse of the lower body. Everyone thought Marina was a normal child, perhaps a bit fragile, but otherwise fine. But one afternoon, as Elena carried her through the market, the baby slipped her little foot out from the blanket. A woman gasped. What's wrong with her legs? Elena panicked, covering her quickly. She's just wearing a costume. She likes the feel of silk, she said awkwardly. The woman frowned but said nothing more. Still, that day marked the start of whispers. By the next week, the neighbors began talking. That woman's baby never cries in the rain, someone said. I heard fish gather near her house when she goes to the shore, another added. Elena heard it all, but she didn't care. Marina was her miracle. One night, as lightning flashed outside, Marina started to cry harder than ever before. Her voice was strange, echoing like it came from deep underwater. Elena rushed to her side. What is it, sweetheart? Are you in pain? The baby's eyes glowed faintly blue. Water pooled under her, spreading across the crib. Elena grabbed her, pressing her to her chest. Shh, you're okay. Mama's here. Then something impossible happened. The house began to tremble. Water gushed from the sink, the bathtub, every pipe at once. It was as if the sea itself had broken into her home. Elena screamed. She tried to run outside, but the door wouldn't open. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. Silence. The air smelled like salt. Elena stood there, dripping wet, clutching the child. Her heart was racing. What's happening to us? She called Aaron that night, her voice shaking. Can you come over, please? I need help. When he arrived and saw the flooded house, he whistled. Looks like a storm hit just your place, he said, half joking. Elena forced a smile. Yeah, a storm. He noticed the baby sleeping in her arms, eyes half open. She's a beautiful kid. You're doing a great job. She swallowed hard. Thanks. Aaron turned serious. You know, people talk, but don't let that bother you. You're a good woman, Elena. You gave that baby a chance. That's all that matters. After he left, Elena sat beside the fire, watching the baby sleep. Maybe you're right, she whispered. Maybe the sea gave you to me for a reason. Years passed. Marina grew into a curious, gentle little girl. She could walk, though her legs always shimmered faintly in sunlight, as if a thin layer of scales hid beneath her skin. She loved water. She could spend hours by the shore, whispering to the waves. Mom, she'd say, the ocean talks to me. Elena would laugh softly. Of course it does. It's where you came from. Sometimes Marina would smile and answer, and where I'll go back someday. Elena froze the first time she said that. What do you mean, go back? But Marina only looked away, her blue eyes distant. As Marina turned 6, the strange events grew more frequent. Whenever she was sad, rain would fall even on sunny days. Whenever she laughed, seashells washed up near their doorstep. One morning, Elena found the living room filled with tiny silver fish, flapping helplessly on the floor. Marina stood in the middle, crying. I didn't mean to, Mama. They just came. Elena hugged her tightly. It's okay, my love. We'll clean it up. That evening, as she put Marina to bed, Elena whispered a prayer. Please, whoever's listening, don't take her from me. She's all I have. The next day, she went to church. She lit a candle, knelt quietly, and told the priest everything well, almost everything. I found her near the sea, she said. She's special. Strange things happen when she cries. I'm scared people will take her away. The priest looked at her kindly. Sometimes God gives us miracles we can't explain. Don't be afraid of them. Protect her. Raise her well. Love her. Those words gave her strength, but trouble was coming. Late one afternoon, while Marina played by the shore, Aaron approached. Hey, Elena, you need to be careful. The Coast Guard's been around. They're saying something about odd activity near the beach. Lights under the water, strange sounds. Elena's heart sank. Do they know anything about us? He shook his head. Not yet, but maybe stay away from the water for a while. That night, Elena locked every door and window. She didn't sleep at all. Around the she heard singing, soft, beautiful, familiar. She tiptoed to Marina's room and her heart nearly stopped. The girl wasn't in bed, she was outside, standing barefoot in the moonlight, singing toward the ocean. Her voice was hauntingly sweet, and the sea seemed to move with it. Waves formed perfect circles around a glowing shape in the water. Elena ran to her. Marina, stop. You'll catch cold. The girl turned, eyes glowing faintly. Mama, they're calling me. Elena grabbed her shoulders. No one's calling you. You're not going anywhere. But Mama, she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. They're my family. Elena's voice cracked. I'm your family. The waves surged higher, spraying around them. For a moment, the shape in the water looked almost human, a woman's silhouette with hair flowing like seaweed. Elena froze. The figure raised an arm as if reaching for Marina. No, Elena shouted. She scooped the girl into her arms and ran back into the house. The sea roared behind them, furious. Inside, she slammed the door shut, panting. Marina clung to her. Mama, you hurt her feelings. I don't care, Elena said, trembling. You're not going anywhere. Outside, thunder boomed though the sky was clear. That night, Elena didn't sleep. She sat by Marina's bed, watching her breathe. She knew then that the sea wasn't done with her, not yet. The next few days felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting for something to happen. Elena tried to pretend everything was fine. She smiled at Marina, cooked breakfast, even sang to her while brushing her hair. But inside, she was terrified. Marina seemed quieter now, distant. She stared at the sea from the window for long minutes, her small hand pressed to the glass. One morning, as Elena washed dishes, she saw something out of the corner of her eye. A car parked near her gate. Two men stepped out, wearing dark coats. She froze. A knock came at the door. Elena Carter? One of them asked politely. Yes, she said, her voice tight. We're from the Coastal Environmental Agency. We're investigating reports of unusual ocean disturbances near this area. Do you mind if we ask a few questions? Her heart pounded. Sure, come in. The men stepped inside, glancing around. One noticed the water stains on the floor and raised an eyebrow. Do you live alone? He asked. No, she said quickly. With my daughter. Your daughter? He looked surprised. May we see her? Elena hesitated. She's resting. The man smiled. Just for a moment, ma'am. Routine check. She nodded slowly and led them to Marina's room. The girl sat on her bed, clutching her toy dolphin. Her eyes met theirs, calm but alert. She's beautiful, one of the men said, but his tone was clinical. How old is she? 6. He wrote something in his notebook. And you found her near the coast, correct? Around the time of the shipwreck. 3 years ago? Elena stiffened. There was no shipwreck that day. He looked at her sharply. We have records of strange phenomena in the water that night. High-frequency sounds, a surge of electromagnetic waves. You were the only resident nearby. I don't know anything about that, she said, forcing her voice steady. I found a baby. That's all. The man closed his notebook. Thank you, Mrs. Carter. If you notice anything unusual, please contact us. They left as soon as their car disappeared. Elena locked the door and ran to Marina, pulling her close. They can't take you, she whispered. I won't let them. Marina looked up at her. Mama, the sea told me they'd come. What? They said they want to study me. They don't understand that I'm not something to study. Elena's breath caught. You've been talking to them again? Marina nodded sadly. They say I belong with them, but I don't want to leave you. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You don't have to go anywhere. We'll leave if we have to. We'll move far away. That night, Elena packed a small bag just in case. Clothes, some cash, documents, and Marina's favorite toys, but before dawn, she woke to a sound outside voices. Male voices. She peeked through the window. Flashlights. The same men from before, now with others. Her heart raced. Marina, wake up. The girl stirred. Mama? Get up, baby. We have to go. Elena grabbed her bag, opened the back door, and slipped into the darkness. They ran through the narrow path behind the cottage toward the forest. The sea roared nearby, as if aware of what was happening. Behind them, she heard shouting. They're heading toward the woods. Elena's lungs burned. She carried Marina in her arms, branches scraping her face, mud splashing under her feet. Finally, they reached the cliffs overlooking the sea. The moon reflected off the water, silver and still. Marina looked at her mother with tears in her eyes. They'll never stop, Mama. Elena shook her head. I don't care. We'll find somewhere else. Somewhere safe. But Marina was trembling. I can feel them calling. The sea. It's crying for me. Don't say that, Elena said, her voice cracking. You're my daughter. You're my life. Marina touched her cheek. And you're mine. But we both knew this day would come. Suddenly, bright lights flashed behind them. The agents had caught up. Mrs. Carter, step away from the child. Elena held Marina tightly. You'll have to kill me first, she shouted. The men spread out, forming a half circle. We don't want to hurt you. We just need to understand what she is. She's not a thing. Elena screamed. She's a child. Marina looked up at her mother, her eyes glowing faintly again. Mama, please don't be scared. The wind picked up. The sea below began to churn violently, waves crashing against the rocks. What's happening? One of the men yelled. Marina stepped forward, her small feet glowing softly against the ground. They're here. And then an enormous wave rose from the ocean, towering higher than the cliffs. The agents stumbled back, shouting in fear. Elena reached for Marina, but the girl turned and smiled sadly. Mama, thank you for loving me. Marina, no. The wave crashed upward, not downward, and engulfed the child in shimmering blue light. Elena screamed, diving forward, but the force threw her back. She hit the ground hard, dazed, reaching out blindly. When she opened her eyes, the water was gone. The sea had calmed. Marina was nowhere in sight. Elena crawled to the edge, sobbing. Marina, Marina. The agents looked stunned. One of them whispered, What was that? But Elena didn't care. She screamed her daughter's name again and again until her voice broke. Hours later, she was found unconscious by the Coast Guard. She woke up in a hospital bed, weak, her throat sore. Aaron was there, sitting by her side. When she saw him, she burst into tears. She's gone, Aaron. They took her. He took her hand gently. I know. I saw the lights from my boat. It wasn't normal, Elena. It was something else. I should have held on tighter, she whispered. I should have never gone to that beach. Aaron's eyes softened. You gave her love. Maybe that's what she came for. Elena turned away, tears soaking her pillow. She called me Mama. That's all I ever wanted. Days passed. The authorities questioned her again and again, but she told them nothing. They didn't believe her anyway. When she finally returned home, the cottage felt empty. She stood by the window, staring at the ocean every evening, waiting for a sign, and one night, she got it. The moon was full, casting silver light across the waves. Elena sat quietly, whispering Marina's name. Suddenly, she heard a soft splash. She looked up and saw something glimmering near the shore. A small shape surfaced. A face, blue eyes shining. Marina? She breathed. The figure smiled faintly, then disappeared beneath the water. Elena fell to her knees, sobbing. I saw her. I saw my baby. Months turned into years. The cottage by the sea became quieter with time, yet Elena never truly left. She stayed because leaving felt like betraying the memory of the girl who once called her Mama. The townsfolk talked. Some said Elena had gone mad. Others said she was waiting for a ghost. She didn't care. Every morning, she walked to the shore with a cup of tea, sat on the same rock where she'd first found the baby, and whispered softly, Good morning, my love. Sometimes she'd see dolphins swimming near the shore, circling close as if protecting something. On calm nights, she'd hear faint giggles drifting with the wind sounds only she could hear. One evening, while watching the sunset, Aaron joined her. He'd stayed in the town too, running his small boat rental business. Over time, he'd become her closest friend. you still come here every night?" he asked gently. She smiled faintly. "I can't help it. I feel her here." Aaron nodded. "Maybe she is here." Elena sighed. "People think I lost my mind." He chuckled softly. "Maybe you just found a part of the world the rest of us can't see." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the waves. Then Aaron said, "You know, a few weeks ago, I saw something strange near the reef. Lights, glowing under the water. Looked almost like people." Elena turned to him, heart skipping. "People?" "Yeah," he said. "Or something like it. They moved together, like a family." She smiled, tears filling her eyes. "A family?" He nodded. "Maybe she's not gone, Elena. Maybe she just went home." That night, Elena dreamt again the same dream she'd had countless times. She was standing by the sea, but this time, it was calm and golden under the setting sun. From the water, a small figure rose, glowing softly. "Marina?" she whispered. The girl smiled, older now, maybe 10 or 11. "Mama." Elena's heart broke and healed all at once. "I've missed you so much." "I know," Marina said gently. "But I've been watching you. You kept me alive with your love." Elena reached out, but her hand passed through light. "I wish I could hold you." Marina shook her head softly. "You already did. You held me long enough to remind me what being human feels like." Tears streamed down Elena's face. "Will I ever see you again?" "One day," Marina said, smiling through the shimmer. "But not yet. You still have to live, Mama. You still have to love." And then the girl began to fade, her voice echoing like music. "Every time the waves kiss your feet, that's me saying hello." Elena woke up with tears in her eyes, but for the first time, she wasn't sad. From that day, she began to live differently. She started teaching again, helping children in the nearby town with reading and art. Her kindness and calm spirit drew people to her. The locals said her presence had a peaceful energy, and whenever she told stories to the children, she always ended with one particular line: "Sometimes, love finds us in ways we don't understand. And when it does, we must cherish it, no matter how short it lasts." Years later, on a bright summer morning, Elena's cottage door creaked open, and a small group of children ran in. They were her students, bringing seashells they'd found near the shore. "Look, Miss Elena," one of them shouted. "This one looks like a heart." She smiled warmly. "It's beautiful." She took the shell, held it close to her ear, and for just a moment, she thought she heard laughter. Marina's laughter. She closed her eyes, smiled through her tears, and whispered, "I hear you, my love." Outside, the sea shimmered in the sunlight. A dolphin leaped from the water, twirling playfully, as if in greeting, and the wind carried a faint voice, soft but clear. "Goodbye, Mama." Elena looked toward the horizon and whispered, "Goodbye, my child." Then, for the first time in years, she turned away from the ocean, not in grief, but in peace, because love, she realized, doesn't end when someone leaves. It changes form. It becomes the tide that carries us forward, the wind that reminds us to keep going, and the memory that never truly fades.